all-you-can-eat buffet workers, what are your horror stories? Welcome back to the internet, that's the question of the day. So we're going to be learning about all the disgusting things that sometimes happen in buffets. Also, don't forget to include your own questions. I'm going to be doing an Ask Me Anything in a couple days. So let's just get started. Years ago, I worked in an all-you-can-eat country buffet in South Carolina. I was a busy boy. One day, I went to a table. It was a mess, as per usual. It looked to be a large family/group of families of around 12 people or so. The thing that stuck in my memory is that whenever they had finished what they were going to eat, they would scrape their plates and use it again. Scrape their plates onto the floor next to the chairs. So next to each chair there was a 6-inch to 18-inch pile of chicken bones, crab legs, mashed potatoes, remnants of baked potatoes, etc. Just disgusting. Well, hey, you can't just have your dirty plates covering up the table, you gotta make room for more. My first job was as a dishwasher in an all-you-can-eat fried catfish buffet. People are animals, especially the ones that get far more food off the buffet than they can eat. Then they take the leftovers and pile them on a plate or tray, cover in ketchup and tartar sauce, then pour their iced tea over the top of all that. A lot of people did that, got at least 2 plates like that a night. Jeez, I knew people could be bad, but I didn't know they were this bad. So not mine, but I had a buddy who was 400 plus pounds, and the dude could put away some food. He went to a casino buffet that was one of the higher end ones, that had crab legs and steak. On about his 4th or 5th plate, stacked full of crab legs, the manager came out and gave him $250 in free slot play to leave the buffet. Edit. So I linked this to my buddy, who pointed out that there were 2 other dudes there, and none of them was under 300 pounds. They killed a metric ton of food between them, and he was putting them to shame. The buffet was higher end, so it was $50 a person. But they easily all ate probably 3 to 4 times that, and he ate probably 8 to 10 times that worth in food. He then went on to win just over $100 with that free slot play as well. If you can't beat the casinos at the games, beat them at the bar or a buffet. Man, I honestly wish I could. I like Vegas buffets, but I can never get my money's worth. I weigh like 125 pounds, and even if I try like starving myself for like a day before going, I still just cannot get my money's worth out of it. A woman came in with 2 of her kids, and had a pretty regular meal. You pay when you leave at our place, and she decided to sneak out with her younger daughter before paying, leaving her underage son alone at the table. We caught on pretty quick and sent someone after her, who found her in a car in a parking garage, waiting for her son to come as well. She refused to come back in and pay, so he had to keep her son hostage until the police came and handled the situation. What some people will do to their kids, I swear. I forgot to mention, we also found out from her son that she stole one of the manager's key cards, and they would regularly come into the hotel and use the card to go swimming in the top floor pool. Smart, I'll give her that, but still. I guess that's a pretty creative way of dine and dashing. Just leave one of your kids behind, I guess. I went as a customer to a Golden Corral. I'm walking to the chocolate fountain, and 3 little girls step in front of me, and all 3 of them just go hands deep in the fountain. The family was the first table by the fountain, and all they did was laugh about how cute it was. Employees turned it off immediately. You know, I know there are a lot of people out there that hate buffets for reasons like this, but at least it does seem like employees try to minimize this from happening. So a buffet where I live got shut down for serving coyote meat and labeling it as other meats. I mean, hey, if it tastes good, what's the difference? My parents owned an all-you-can-eat buffet, and I was there every day of my life from 4 to 14. My favorite horror story is when a couple came in to eat. They loved the crab legs, and every time my mom put some out, they took it all. Also, just a reminder, crab legs are expensive. Forget the other customers, they just took it and ate it all. So they're there for maybe 2 hours now, and it's getting dark. They've eaten through at least a week's stock of crab legs, and my mom finally decides it's enough. She stops putting it out in the buffet and brings individual plates to the customers who wanted it, but couldn't get any, due to this couple. The couple is angry. They literally flip the chairs at their table, flip their plates, bowls, cups, etc., and completely trash the area. Food was all over the floor, tables, chairs, sticky soda was dripping into the carpet. They left in a hurry, but someone caught their license plate. We called the cops, and I think they said they charged them with something. I can't remember the aftermath details clearly, because I was probably 8 or 9 years old. I just remember looking at the mess and feeling really angry that my sister and I had to clean it up with our mom. It was a family-run business, so we didn't have much help. Anyways, that's my horror story. The end. Man, people go crazy for crab legs. There were so many stories in this thread about people just taking all the crab legs. I don't really like seafood though, so I don't really know what the hype is all about. Especially with crab legs. I mean, they've got like claws and everything. It's like, if there were giant spiders, like, would you cut off the legs of giant spiders and eat spider legs? I mean, I wouldn't. I just see crabs as like giant armored spiders. Not a buffet, but I worked at a pizza parlor that offered a lunch buffet of endless pizza. The lunch ran from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. This gentleman comes in, I think he was homeless, He serves up a sky-high plate of pizza and just goes to town. He stayed from the beginning to the very end to make sure he got his money's worth. Well, his body didn't appreciate being stuffed like a piñata of pizza. He got up and waddled fast to the bathroom, and the next thing I know, I'm being told that he had a liquid poop trailing behind him to the bathroom, and inside the bathroom. I was informed by my boss about the incident. I told him I was just heading out for a break. I was not about to clean that up. I've never even heard of an all-you-can-eat pizza place. I mean, I can spend like $6 on a nice pizza and not even be able to finish it, so I don't know why I would pay more than that for a buffet. I worked at a Ruby Tuesdays in Center City, Philly, the first floor of the Liberty Place building. I had a couple that would come in about twice a week that requested me. They would gorge themselves at the salad bar for about an hour, ask for large glasses of water with no ice, then they would both take the water into the bathroom. They would come out a few minutes later with empty glasses, ask for the check, and leave. I finally put it together that they were bulimic after I walked into the women's bathroom and it smelled like vomit. Very polite folks and tipped well though. Man, I feel like I'm the farthest thing from bulimic possible. I mean, these people want the enjoyment of eating, but not have to deal with the food actually, like, doing anything to them. Whereas I, on the other hand, I don't even like eating. I don't even like food that much. I only eat because I have to. So why would I pay money for food that's not even going to, like, keep me alive? It just seems pointless. Not a worker, but I went to Hometown Buffet, and the kid in front of me was slightly shorter than the buffet bar, but had his hands in the yellow jello, just massaging it. Then his mom came by and snatched him away, but didn't say anything, while a guy came and made himself a bowl of jello. 10-year-old me was too appalled to say anything. I haven't eaten jello since then. Wait, jello's for eating? I thought you're just supposed to play with it. So I picked up some fish and chips recently, saw they had all-you-can-eat on Wednesdays. So I asked, what's the most that someone... 18 pieces of fish and 3 plates of fries every single Wednesday. So he eats that exact order every week? Yes, and he goes to a different all-you-can-eat every day of the week. He got banned from the Chinese place down the road. Man, this guy sounds like he's really got the buffet scene figured out. I mean, you gotta think about it. There is a lot of strategy that can go into people who just want to take advantage of buffets all the time. If you do it right, I suppose you would only have to eat like 1 meal a day. So not an employee, but a customer. A long time ago, my mom and I picked up a friend of hers and we went to a local Chinese food buffet. This place had a thing where you could get a pound of food for $5 in a takeout container, instead of sitting and eating at the restaurant if you want. So that was our plan. The 3 of us were browsing around the buffet line with our takeout containers, adding what we wanted to them. And then I noticed my mom's friend doing something freaking disgusting. He was eating a chicken wing, like right in front of the buffet line, hiding his face behind his takeout container, and then he took the chicken bone and put it back in the buffet tray. I walked over to my mom and told her what he was doing. At first she thought I was joking. So she walked over towards him, and now he was standing there eating a slice of watermelon right off the buffet, and then putting the rind back in the tray. So my mom was like, "What the F are you doing?" And he's like, "Don't worry, I do this all the time. They never notice." So, of course, me and my mom are panicking, worried that they're going to call the cops or something because of this dipstick. We basically pretended to not know him, and continued to fill up our containers the right way. After a couple minutes, one of the employees walks up to my mom and tells her that they noticed what the guy was doing, and they noticed that we were also uncomfortable about it and didn't intend to blame us. But they warned her that if she doesn't get him to pay for the food in the container and leave immediately, they'll be calling the police. So of course my mom yells that we need to go, now, and he just brushes it off like, "I don't care, they're not gonna do anything." Well, me and my mom walked up to the front, paid for our containers, apologized, and walked out and left him there. A minute later, you can see and hear him shouting with the staff. He throws his container on the ground and food splatters everywhere. He storms out, shouting insults, and leaves. And of course gives them the, "I'm never coming back." To which they reply, "You're not allowed in here no more. We'll call the cops." So we're standing out by the car, waiting for him. Of course, we yell at him for being a piece of crap. We get in the car, and the next thing you know, this mofo starts pulling chicken wings and Chinese donuts out of his freaking pockets and eating them. We dropped him off at home and never spoke to him again. That's kind of a weird thing to find out about a friend that you have that you just randomly decided to pick up and take to a buffet one day. I had a coworker that briefly managed Orion's buffet. He said that it was fairly common for people to gorge themselves, then purge in the restroom and start eating again so that they could get their money's worth. Yeah, I feel like that's the only way I could ever pull it off, though I can't imagine that would make the experience any more pleasant. So I worked as a server at a Chinese buffet, and 4 things came to mind instantly. Number 1, a middle-aged woman puked on her table and blamed it on giving herself the wrong insulin dose. The 4 mountains of food she destroyed probably contributed too, profusely apologized, and tipped me $1. Number 2, I tried to pick up a dirty plate off a table that had a big pool of hibachi sauce and grease on it. The customer stopped me and said, "That's the best part." then proceeded to drink the sauce like it was the milk after a bowl of cereal. Number 3. A young mother complained to me because the crab meat and cheese that we serve on the buffet made her child sick and they threw up. Her child was an infant, not even a year old. I'm no child care expert, but baked artificial crab meat and mozzarella can't be good for a baby. And number 4. The restaurant was raided by ICE one morning shortly before opening. The entire back of the house of one of our managers were deported. Back of the house was half Chinese and half Latin American. Dang, this place sounds like a much more exciting buffet than I've ever been to. So a college friend worked at a Chinese buffet. He said they caught a regular dipping his pizza in the wonton soup, like in the queue and not at his table, and eating it. Bite, dip, bite, dip, bite, dip. After the 4th time in a month he did it, management finally kicked him out. You know how it goes, 4 strikes and you're out. Pickle boy. There was this man who used to come into our restaurant who clearly wasn't all there in the head. He was functional but very weird. As the months progressed, he got way weirder. He started wearing women's underwear over his clothes, even going so far as to stuff his bra. Picture a 6'2", 250-pound dude with a baby face, wearing silky underpants and a lace bra over ratty jeans and a stained Hawaiian shirt. That's our guy. He went from being able to hold a sort of normal conversation to just spouting conspiracy theory word salad. But the weirdest thing was his change of eating habits. He used to eat a variety of our soup, salad, baked potato options from our buffet. But as his mental health deteriorated, so did his desire for variety, I guess. By the time his weirdness devolved into aggression and we had to 86 him, he was coming in for 2 things: pickles and ranch dressing. He'd pile as many pickle slices as he could onto his plate, then put so much ranch on them the dressing and pickle juice would be running all over the tray. He'd eat it all, and his face would be covered in ranch and pickle bits. Then he'd drink water straight from the pitcher that he inevitably stole from the wait station, slamming it with pickle ranch slobber. Never a dull moment with that dude around. Pickle boy, wherever you are today, I really hope that you get the help you so desperately needed, but I was not sorry to see you go. For those of you who are asking about the term 86, on this case, it means we kicked him out permanently. If anybody here has eaten a pickle ranch tower before, let me know how it is. I've never really tried it. So not an employee, but I witnessed a marvelous thing. So sitting in a small town Chinese buffet, 3 dudes, not obese, but farm-built big, come in. These guys proceed to just clean house, plate after plate after plate. They weren't wasteful, they ate everything they took. They were very polite to the staff and other customers. But I bet each man ate a dozen plates, each stacked high. The cooks were working to keep up. My family and I found ourselves watching this marvelous feat of eating unfold in awe. When they approached the counter to pay, all this eating unfolding in only 45 minutes or so, the manager greeted them at the counter. In his broken English, he simply said, "You men, you no pay, but you no come back." The guys gave each other and the manager a, "Yeah, fair enough," look, and left. Yeah, there are some people that buffets make a lot of money off of, people like me. And then there's some people that they lose a lot of money off of, like big guys. So obligatory, not a buffet worker, just a witness. We were waiting in line for the soft serve machine at a Golden Corral. The woman in front of us gets up to the machine and awkwardly jerks the handle around in an attempt to get at the sweet, sweet ice cream within. She's pushing, pulling, twisting, doing literally everything but turning it to the right, which would have dispensed the ice cream. She's really perplexed by this. So she takes the next logical step, of course, which is to wrap her lips around the spout, form a seal on it with her mouth, and starts trying to suck it right out of the tap. One of the workers sees this and looks on in disgust before he unplugs the machine. On the way out, we see that he put an out of order sign on it. So thankfully they didn't keep serving it after the whole incident. Yeah, I don't even know anymore. So there's one more story, but it's a little too graphic and morbid for me to want to read it. So I'm just going to post it on the screen right here. And you can pause it if you want to read it, but just know that it's a little bit disgusting. So now that that's all out of the way, I guess I don't have like a lot of stories about this, but I just remember one time like way back in high school, I went to my friend one day and I just said, "Man, I went to a restaurant last night and I saw the largest person I think I've ever seen in my life." And he just responds with, "Was it Golden Corral?" And I was like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" And he's just like, "Because all the biggest people go to Golden Corral." I'm just like, yeah, I guess that's kind of true. Of course, any of my old subscribers might remember my story from the buffet where you had to pay extra for dessert at the end. And I saw this table of like 12 prom kids or something that they had just left a whole bunch of like half-eaten desserts on their plates because, I don't know, it's a special night, might as well waste some money. And I mean, these are like expensive desserts and I'm just like staring at them and I'm like, I'm not going to pay extra for dessert, I'm too full, but I mean like, if they're just sitting out, I mean, they've been gone for like at least an hour now, so I mean, I guess they're up for grabs. And so like the server came around And it's just like, would I get in trouble if I went and just took some of those half-eaten desserts over there? And he's just like, the amount that I would care is about 0, and I also probably would not even judge you for it. So it's like, okay, cool. So he walks away, and I just stand up and walk over and pull this like plate of cheesecake that they had left behind. Don't worry, I only ate from the back side of it. I didn't touch any of the part that they had cut. But yeah, that was just a couple months ago. Anyways, I think that's the end of that. Don't forget to throw any questions my way if you want to be part of the Ask Me Anything, and enjoy the cat video.